Hello everyone, my name is Colette Bell. I'm the CEO and founder of Top Level Management. What I would like to spend just a few moments speaking with you about today is how to create an effective franchisee advisory council. Once your system has reached the size of approximately 20 to 25 franchisees, it's time to begin thinking about getting your franchisees involved in not just decision making, but the process and strategy of how you're going to continue to develop your franchise system. There's 3 easy steps in order to create an effective franchisee advisory council. Let's first start by talking about balancing the participation. This one's really important. A lot of franchisee advisory councils are just seen as a mouthpiece by the franchisor, and that's partly because what a franchisor does is say, we're going to have a franchisee advisory council and I'm going to pick all the members. That doesn't work. Here's what we recommend. First, start dividing your franchise system into regions. This is going to depend on how spread out across the United States and international you are, and the best way to equalize your regions, divide it in whatever system makes sense in order of your franchisees. The second thing is assign 2 franchisees to represent each region. The reason that you want 2 to represent each region is for the purpose of balancing. Make one of those franchisees an elected representative. Hold an election, even if it's electronic, and have the franchisees in that region decide which franchisee is going to represent them. The second member that's going to be in that region is going to be a franchisor chosen franchisee. The reason for this is because a lot of times the franchisors like to recognize franchisees for their participation in the system, even though those aren't typically the ones who will raise their hand and say they want to be on a council. Plus, it's a good way for a franchisor to acknowledge which franchisees in their system are model franchisees, and it sends a message to others in the system to pay attention to the way the business model is being run in those particular locations. Once you have your regions divided up, you've held your election, and you have your members that you've chosen as the franchisor, the second thing to holding an effective franchisee advisory council is to set clear expectations. It starts with the name of this. It's an advisory council. It's not a decision-making board. This is not a board of directors for the franchisor, and it's not a group that can tell the franchisor what they should or should not do in terms of programs or brand development. They are merely there to advise the franchisor and to give input. The way this works best is to have 2-way communication. The franchisor needs to use the council to ask franchisees for their input, whether it's through calling individual franchisees or whether it's through sending out emails or surveys. And then the next thing is the franchisor needs to use the franchisee council to communicate new programs and new systems that are coming from the franchisor. But when it's heard from a franchisee advisory council, the tone is just a little bit different, and it makes a big difference in a franchise system. The last thing you need to do in order to have an effective franchisee advisory council is to hold regular meetings and make sure you have preset agendas. Easier said than done. What a lot of franchisors start off by doing is saying, we're going to have monthly meetings. Nobody has time for that. Remember that these franchisees who are in your council are running their own businesses. They just don't have time to spend a lot of time in meetings with the franchisor. Be cognizant of their time. Make sure you have a preset agenda, and we recommend that you start with just holding 4 meetings a year, 2 in person and 2 on the phone, and make it every quarter. A lot of times what's easy to do is start your franchisee advisory council at the convention. You can hold elections while you're there, everyone is in participation, and then at the end of the convention you can hold your first franchisee advisory council meeting in person. There's just more power when things are said face to face, especially when you're doing number 2, which is setting those clear expectations with the new council members. Then the next quarter you can have a phone conversation, or you can have a webinar call, and then the 3rd quarter you're going to want to have a face-to-face. Take the time, dedicate the energy, and spend the money to bring the franchisee advisory council members into your corporate location. Show them what your corporate staff is doing, showcase all of your new programs, and you'll be surprised at the buy-in you're going to get from your advisory members. And then finally, your 4th call can either be a webinar or a call, and you'll meet up again at the next national convention. So remember, in order to have very effective franchisee advisory councils, you want to balance the power and the representation of the council, you want to set very clear expectations, and you want to hold regular meetings with preset agendas. This is Colette Bell from Top Level Management. Thanks for watching.